And it is the Tom Chenault Show on an unbelievable day, and I hope you are having yourself one of those yourself. It's been an incredible, incredible week for me. Obviously, we had GoPro last weekend, which was just amazing. I hope that you went to that. I hope you live streamed that. I hope you're going to go next year. It was an epic deal, and what was there for me was it was a lot of new speakers, a lot of young speakers, a lot of people we'd never seen before. So there was no tired information. They had plenty of legends. Jeff Roberti had a big piece. He's old. John Maxwell's old. Who's the third one? Les Brown's old. I'm old. So it had its fair share of old people. But for the most part, it was new stuff, and it was cool stuff. And I hope you go to that. I hope you go to the Women's GoPro. I hope you go to the ANMP. I hope you go to some of the TGO and the Game and Networking masterminds. I'll just tell you, this profession is great. And the more you learn, the more you hang around with people that are doing well in this profession, the more you realize that you can do that yourself. And I know your company convention is that kind of thing, and I know it's important. But so is this. And our guest today is the one and only Rob Sperry. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Game and Networking or not, but he is a beast in his own right. And one of the questions people have, because he's so young, people ask all the time, how could Rob Sperry have been such a great network marketer when he's such a young guy who stepped out of the network marketing building arena in order to go out and become a trainer, a generic trainer? And I say to that, well, I don't know. I heard that he did okay in New Skin, and he was kind of a big deal there. And he was over at Monavie and was kind of a big deal there. And so I got a text message a couple of days ago from a really, really cool guy who is an icon in network marketing, who we've wanted on this show for a long time. And now Marianne is going to call and get him on because he's agreed to come on. And that is Dan McCormick. And what he wrote me unsolicited about Rob Sperry and his abilities at New Skin when he was there was absolutely unbelievable. And he said that Rob was indeed a force to be reckoned with. He was an incredible network marketer, and they miss him greatly, but they're happy about his success. And that's exciting to me. So with that, Rob Sperry, how are you, buddy? Okay, we don't have Rob Sperry yet. So I'm telling jokes for a minute. So that's okay with me. We'll find out where he is and find out why he's not here in a second. But I know we're talking to him. And I know that he's actually in the building because we were talking to him. They might be having technical difficulties, which happens in this business. Even though sometimes I'm not happy about it, we're happy about that. I mean, he'll be here in a second. I'm going to go to the comments. Hello, Pamela Ann Schwartz. Hello, Kevin Allen. Hello, Sean Murphy. Hello, Mario. Hello, Denise Dunlap. Hello, Tamara. I'm just saying hi to all of you because that's what I do, but I want to keep going back to the back to GoPro. Before that, yesterday, I went to Haley Hobson, who is a big deal over at doTERRA with her husband, West. Double diamonds or some crazy title over there. There's only a couple of them in the whole company, and she's one of them. Former attorney, former Pilates instructor, just an intense woman, decided after GoPro to bring in about 6 world-class experts for social media training. So Adrian and I and Marianne and Denise all trekked up to Boulder, quite the long drive, about 15 minutes. And they had rented a huge room over at the Marriott there. And they brought in these 6 experts from all over the world to talk about social media. And as a result of that, I'm going to bring Adrian on to talk about that a little bit because, no, I'm not. Maybe I am. I am. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't have a guest, and I know you're already sick of me. So we're going to figure out Sperry here in a minute and get him on at least audio. But at the end of the day, and I can actually, this button keeps telling me I can bring them on camera. So if he just goes on Facebook, he can come on with a microphone and not go through our switch and be on screen with me somehow if we want to do that. So I can see this button because I can add anybody. I could add Rebecca Randall, or I could add Tanya Smith from Australia, or I could add the great Nikki Russell from Wichita, Kansas, or Diana Harper. But yeah, so everybody. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
that's not a bad idea. So maybe we'll try that. The joys of the internet, right?
Yeah, we'll just go the back door. So that's easy enough to do. But we've got Adrian here, and I want him to talk about Haley Hobson's deal, talk about GoPro. This is you came in there as a contact mapping guy, you and your partner from MIT, and I'll tell you what, you left there with your on fire, didn't you?
Yeah, it was. Both events were unbelievable, and it was quite the fire hose to be at two such powerful events, almost back to back. But everything that it came down to is, how do you really get to your authentic voice? Because that's what people are going to be attracted to, and you're doing that in the way that you relate to people on a one-on-one basis when you're interacting, in the real world, face-to-face, belly-to-belly, whatever that looks like, and you're trying to do that same thing online. And so everything really aligned together in terms of what we're trying to do, which is to be the true authentic version of ourselves, instead of this Lamborghini renting poser next to doing the pictures and all this stuff. Remind me the last time that anybody went and clicked on one of those things or engaged on one of those things. We all know that stuff is fake. And what people really want to relate to is the real you. And so I really heard that well on an individual level. And then so much of what Eric was talking about is, how do you actually cultivate that and become an influencer and then cultivate influencers amongst your organization, which again kind of comes back to that authenticity, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Rebecca Coleman. Hello, Rebecca Randall. Hello, Melinda Wynn. Mel Atwood, the vendor, didn't show up for GoPro. He had a chance to sell so much to the fellow companies and people, and he didn't do it. I could not believe he wasn't in the hall, because he's the king of the hall rats at GoPro. So I can't believe, maybe he's just getting all his arrows in his quiver for the ANMP. But I love Mel Atwood with all of my heart.
Don't listen to him, Mel. We love you, man.
We really do. So here's the deal, you guys. I want to talk about one more thing that just happened. This morning, Chris Ebersberg, who was my upline in a company called Newskin, and he was my idol. He was the most unbelievable guy, because his entire I've got all kinds of noise going on in my ear, so I'm losing my train of thought. So anyway, my entire life was in awe of Chris Ebersberg. He lived in Breckenridge. He had this beautiful wife named Sylvia. She was German or something, and she had this accent, a German accent, and he was making all this money. And I'm telling you, I dressed like him. I did everything to be like him. And then he had a huge organization, went out, formed a travel multi-level marketing company. Then he formed a company called SPL that didn't do so well, got out of the multi-level marketing space completely, and called me last week and said, I just want to rekindle relationships and go. And I said, well, go to GoPro with me. And I'll be darned if he didn't just drop everything he was doing and flew over to Vegas and went to GoPro. And then today he came over to the office and hung out with us all day long and brought tears to my eyes, because it's great to see people doing well. And so that's my story. I think we might have Rob Sperry, because I hear all the background noise, and it's certainly not Marianne, because she doesn't drink too much during the job. Hello. How are you, Rob Sperry? Sperry, because I hear all the background noise, and it's
all right. We're getting him here, I think.
How are you, Rob? Hello, Rob.
Hey, can you guys hear me? I can't hear you, but I can see you.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Yeah, we can hear you, but this isn't good news, because it's going to be a very difficult interview.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, so this isn't going to work, Marianne. You got to drop him, and we'll do the show without him, unless we can figure it out. So, Adrian, go do that. Add him on Facebook thing, and forget it's not working. So, just tell him to go to the Facebook Live.
We'll figure it out. Get back on.
Yeah, so we're coming back to it. So, sorry about that, you guys. And Marianne, dump him. Okay. So, It's just me again, you poor people. And we even lost Adrian because he's going to go do it. David Peace, you are a complete and total legend too. We've got Rob Sperry. You got whatever you got to do. I can see you watching here, Rob, so all you got to do is push the button and get yourself to the point where you're requesting to come on camera, and we'll get you in here. Alan Sickman, I love this guy. I love the way he absolutely posts his travels and his life with his beautiful wife all over the world. And going back to Chris Ebersberger, going back to what I loved about GoPro was really, really humble people doing well in network marketing, go in there and sharing their hearts and their stories without sharing their things. And then on the flip side of the coin, you've got the people who haven't really made it, who really don't believe they're going to be at the top for long, that have to show what they've got, what they earned in order to give themselves value, because they really don't have the skills of this profession to know that what they have is enough. And that's this great life. And sure, you can show lifestyle. I don't care if you show your own car in a humble way or whatever it is you're doing in a humble way. I'm building a new house. And one of the toughest things for me to do is post pictures of that house, because it's going to be really nice. It's on a lake. It's something I've dreamed about for a long, long time. And I'm 67 years old, and I've been doing this business for 21 years, actually 30 years in my company for 21 years. So I paid my dues to buy a house and build a house like that. But it's still very, very rough for me because it's that nice. And I don't feel like it feels ostentatious to me, because I know there's so many people that are suffering and trying to make it. And I'll tell you, I think that's echoed by a lot of leaders like me, that, you do end up making more money than you ever deserve in this business if you stick around long enough and you learn the skills and you do it well. And you probably end up buying something like that. But that's been a rough thing for me to do. And I'm an AA guy every day. I'm a spit on sidewalks guy every day. I wear the same, to my wife's chagrin. When my shirt gets dirty, I just flip that son of a gun inside out and keep moving, because just the way that I like to roll. And so what I saw there, I saw Denny Robinson. I saw so many of those people. And it was so great seeing all those people and having the ability to see their lives and see them be able to do almost anything, but to realize that their heart is so much bigger than their checkbook, no matter how big their checkbook is. And that goes all the way up to Jeff Roberti's speech, which was over the top, where he talked about all of his success being an inside job and how he still every day is trying to figure out a way to make that inside job even better and become a better man and a better person as a result of the way he's doing his life. And what I want for all of you is to have that kind of very situation going on for you, because it will be that. It will work if you let it work. It will be that kind of business for you if you let it be. So it's that simple. We're going to try getting Rob on via camera, via an iPad, and we're going to see if that's going to work for you guys. And we hope to heck it does. And if it does, it'll be great. If it doesn't, that'll be bad. But we're going to give it a try right now and see how that goes. Pardon me, my voice is going down the drain real fast as I'm scrambling, thinking of things to say to you guys. So the whole Haley Hobson conversation, she brought in experts from everywhere. And what I learned out of that thing is all you're doing basically is learning how to do normal network marketing, one-on-one meetings, weekly meetings, monthly trainings, all that stuff, but building funnels to accomplish that, where you're building them in your towns, you're building them wherever you are, you're building them on the internet, but you're still building that human being connection with people. You're not signing people up with a click. It's not automated. It's network marketing. And we're still going with that no matter what. And that makes me extremely happy. And I know we can do it. I absolutely know we can do it. I know every one of you can. And all we need to do is believe that. And to believe that, you've got to know that you have got a noble cause and that you are doing really, really big work, bigger work than your product, bigger work than your comp plan, bigger work than your company. I don't do this business for any of those things. I swear I do this business because I think I am a catalyst of hope for the ordinary man. I believe that I am in a profession where I can take ordinary people that may be so far behind the eight ball they haven't got two nickels to rub together, and I can teach them the skills to get themselves out of the jackpot. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you're going to get out of the jackpot because that would be making an income claim. But here you have a chance whereby there is no place on the face of the earth that you've got a chance like this. I was talking to Chris Ebersberg about mid-level managers at that meeting this morning. He said something interesting to us. He said literally every mid-level manager has been in a multi-level marketing company, and most of them didn't work because they weren't taught to not take that culture of corporate America into multi-level and try to be something big time in multi-level using corporate America skills. So they didn't realize they had to unlearn that stuff. But now they know they do. And it's really cool. And his commitment is to maybe educate the world on that and educate the world on how to do that. And that's our goal. That's what we're trying to accomplish. And I think we're going to pull that off. But that's what I get up for every day, is to do just that. And those of you that think this radio show really sucks, you're probably right. But I want you to think about something. I want you to think about whether or not you have an hour show under your belt where you get up and you're all ready to go with all your questions for Rob Sperry. I just talked about that Dan McCormick quote and the whole deal. And then Rob Sperry's not on with you. And I've got to talk off the hip for an hour about literally nothing. This is the Seinfeld show. And I'm telling you what, I am winging it and I'm bailing water as fast as I can. But if you don't like it, just go off the live and, just go. Don't tell people Tom Chenault's terrible, because I'm trying as hard as I can. We're coming back right after this. This is the radio call. This is the Genesis Communication Network. And we're back. Believe it or not, that was for the, I talked right through the hard break where I would have actually had a break, because I have been going like so intently trying to do this thing. And now we're at the commercial for the radio station that airs this show. So Genesis Communication Network airs this show up on 550 stations. And so we go straight to their satellite up in Minnesota, and it goes up to wherever it goes, and then the other radio stations grab it, and that's regular time radio, but it's hard breaks. So right now we're on one of those hard breaks, which is normally where I have Adrian come in here and talk about contact mapping, because he's the expert on contact mapping, but he's also the expert on this show, and he's trying to get Rob Sperry in here. So instead of doing the commercial, here he is. Do we have Sperry up? Huh? Okay, we're working on Sperry. Let's talk about.
Do you want to see a 67-year-old man sweat?
Oh my God!
Today is your lucky day.
Hi.
All right, so we're trying to get him on here, and hopefully we will in a minute. But yeah, I'm Mr. Technology, and Mr. Technology is not his batting average isn't looking so good today.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so Adrian, tell these people. Teresa Crespo's on here. Let's just give her a shout out. What a girl. We go down to GoPro. Bob Dickey, who set the Marine Corps record for the marathon or something when he was there. Then he ends up getting out of there and doing all the sales aids and everything else for Orrin Woodward and Chris Brady when they were over at Amway or something, or maybe at Monavie. I'm making up things as I go. Anyway, he's now the president of Bonvera, and he came to GoPro and didn't know a lot of people. And Teresa Crespo just decided to take him under her wing, and she introduced him to literally everybody in the place. She's a complete and total emissary for contact mapping. She is the quintessential I know a girl. So if you ever want to know anybody or anything in network marketing, you need to call her, because chances are she's going to have the answer. She is an incredible person.
So Teresa Crespo has the connector on her business card, which is very lucky for her, because
Fraser Brooks is even on here. Is he? He's crazy.
Actually,
where is he?
Yeah, I actually saw almost this exact same thing transpire with Robin and Fraser right now. So Fraser is laughing his butt off, and he can feel our pain right now. But so TC, Teresa Crespo, the connector, and She really is. I mean, we had this conversation in the lead up to GoPro where she really, really wowed me, and she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to make it to the event last minute, and luckily she did. And I already thought the world of her going into that event, and my estimation of this woman went through the roof as a result of seeing who she is and how she showed up there. And she really is the connector. She knows everybody. But not only that, it's one thing to know everybody. It's a different thing to have the skill to recognize, hey, I just met you, and I recognize where you need help and how I can help there, and going and saying, hey, let me walk you over and make that introduction. And so she did that over and over again for brand new people. You know, we met people together. It was just awesome. And she really embodied what it means to connect without an agenda.
Can I ask you a question?
Please ask me a question.
When was it they dropped Fraser Brooks on his head? The guy is nuts. You've never seen anything like it. The guy was absolutely electric on stage.
Yeah, he was.
But where I loved him so much was he never left the people. He was out there in the hall doing that walk with a camera. I'll bet he did it 100 times for people because he did this great skit. I can't do it here. I can't emulate it here. He's got to do a video of it, of, you know, either walking on one leg and going in a circle, or walking on another leg and going in another circle, or going the right direction. But he literally did that with anybody that wanted a 15-second clip with him. He was goofy, he was lovable, he was adorable, he was authentic. I am telling you, I love this kid, don't you?
He was awesome.
And he's got mad skills.
Yeah. And you know, Fraser's I told him he's the king of the internet. He says, no, I'm only the king of social networking or social media. But he is this guy that built his brand on social media, on teaching people how to market themselves on social media. And so for somebody whose presence and sort of what you imagine about them is, you know, the smart guy that's sitting behind the computer screen, to get up there and, I mean, I can't think of somebody who had more stage presence than him.
No.
I mean, he was just unbelievable, and he captivated the room, and it wasn't just a show. It was an unbelievable message that was behind that.
Yeah. All right, this commercial's almost over, and we're going back out.
You're back on your own, man.
I'm back on my own, so I got to think of some more stuff to talk about. Good God. So I used up all my ammo during the commercial. We need Mel Atwood. That's what we needed, was Mel Atwood. So that would have solved our problems if I would have just gotten Mel Atwood on here. He could have done a commercial for his business, which is extraordinary, selling to network marketers. And Mel, post the name of it in the website in case somebody wants to get a comp plan designed. We're coming back right now on the Tom Chenault Show. And we're back. This is Tom Chenault, and that's the Tom Chenault Show. I hope you're having a great day. And I know you're coming on trying to listen to the great Rob Sperry, who is unbelievable. And here's what I know about Rob Sperry. So, number one, he's not here. And it's not because he doesn't want to be. We're trying to add him on Facebook. You can see Adrian next to me with the iPad because he knows that I've totally screwed the pooch on this show. So he's not going to let me do any more of it by myself, which is pretty funny because I was just completely repeating myself and acting like a doddering old man, which I am. So Adrian's here to try to help me out. But Rob Sperry, I want to say this again. A couple of things came in preparation for the show. I said, Rob, I am going to ask you definitively, do you have a position in another network marketing company, or do you have nominee names in any other companies? And Rob Sperry said, ask me the question on a Bible. I will tell you, absolutely not. So any of you that were watching this show to ask if I was going to ask that question, I don't normally give people questions in advance, but I warned Sperry that I was going to ask that question, and he said, just exactly like Todd Falcone, bring it on. So I've asked people like Eric Worre, I've asked people like Todd Falcone, and I was planning on asking Rob, and he answered it. And then I'm going to repeat myself about Dan McCormick, because a lot of tout out there is Rob so young, how could he have been so big in network marketing? I never heard of him. He went big fast and he got out fast. And over at New Skin, Dan McCormick told me not only was he unbelievable, not only were they very, very sad that he left, he said they missed him and they wished him well. And in my company that I'm in, if I were to leave, I don't think they would say that to me. I don't think they'd say that they miss me, and I don't think necessarily they'd wish me well. I think that takes a tremendous amount of class on Dan McCormick's front to say that, but it also takes a lot of class on Rob Sperry's to have that reputation following him. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, and he really walks his walk and talks his talk, and I think that's so. In order to build the kind of trust that is required for you to be able to, for leaders in big companies who have a lot to lose if they take somebody into the Dragon's Den and then, have their people get poached, Rob is one of the guys out there that you can really trust around that.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring Rob on, and I'm going to ask him questions with long answers. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there might be a delay, and I don't want you guys dealing with that delay back and forth. And I'm probably going to be dealing with an echo, and I don't want to be playing that kind of badminton either. But I can ask him questions that are going to take a long time for him to answer. So I know that you're going to like that a whole lot better than what I'm doing. So is that what has she got him now?
Yeah, so I think we're getting him added back on now, so we'll have him here in just a second.
Okay. Okay, Rob, can you hear me? Rob, can you hear me? Okay, I don't think he can hear me, Miriam. Okay, maybe he can hear me. Okay, well, we can't hear him. So that's also, he can, okay. We are so terrible at this. It's a wonder I even have a car.
It's a good thing we kept the name the Tom Chenault Radio Show. If we call this the Tom Chenault Facebook Live Show.
I can hear you loud and clear. You're just going to have a 5-second delay on it.
Okay, Rob, that's good. Okay, so Rob.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
loud and clear. It's just a 5-second delay.
Okay, good. We're in great shape. So let's talk. So we love you. We can't thank you enough for your participation in. It's no problem. We can't thank you enough for your participation in GoPro. You were great from the stage. Talk about what's going on with the game of networking. It's open right now. Talk about who you are as a network marketer and why you decided to go generic. Fire it up. That's a lot more than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. It's going to be a good answer. It's going to be worth it.
Do you think he's even hearing that? Well, that's because he's probably waiting for me to say something. Oh, we can see him.
Yeah, 100%. So I may be talking over you a little bit because we got the 5-second delay, but I'm going to give a long-winded answer to help out. Thank you so much, Tom, for getting me on. Thank you, Adrian. And Tom just grilled me. I mean, Tom was great. When I started going generic in this, Tom grilled me, and he said to me, Tom, we can still hear you in the background, so hopefully you're good. Even though it's on my screen, we can still hear you in the background. But he grilled me, and he said to me, he's like, Rob, listen. He said, if you're going to be generic, I need to know if you're generic or not. He said, just be 100% transparent with me. Tell me exactly what you're doing. And I appreciated that because I said, I'll always be straightforward with you. So he was the guy that grilled me, and he said, I'll have your back, but if you betray my trust, I'm going after you. So I said, don't worry. I'm a friend. You know me. You know how I work. And I think it took me about a year to really gain his trust and show him what my true colors were. So that's the first thing that I want to say. The next thing is the game of networking. First, I started the open just group that I figured we got GoPro, which Eric's just done a phenomenal job, open up the whole industry in the sense of we can start building trust and transparency. And by the way, Tom was the guy that introduced me to Eric. So huge props and thanks to that. I wouldn't have been speaking at the last GoPro event if it weren't for Tom and that connection. So when he talks about contact mapping, he talks about networking, he actually lives it and does it. And Adrian's the same, always staying in contact, like always practicing what he preaches. So I figured we got GoPro where we're bringing all these generic people in and we got generic content and teaching people ethically how to do it. And I said, why don't we create something like that online? So I created the game of networking a couple years ago. Tom had a huge help in that. And we have now, I think, the most active group, generic group generic group in all of network marketing by far. There's a lot of groups that have more people, but there's nobody in it. It's all spamming, it's dead, it's not active. And so that's the reason why I created that group. It's been a lot of fun. At one point, I don't know, we counted, it was over 200 plus 6 and 7 figure earners. And now who knows how many have posted and interacted as far as that goes. So the next thing is he's asking about the game of networking. I do have T-Gon Nation, which is a paid subscription group, and Tom's been in there. I just bring in $1 million earners, just right, like legends like him, bring them in every single week. I give a course. It's just trying to help. A lot of people ask why. We got a huge industry. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you say, they just need to hear a different voice. And so sometimes I say things and leaders are like, well, I've been telling my teams to do that for the last 3 years. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to say I'm smarter by any means. We just know you're not a prophet in your own country. And sometimes you just need to hear a different voice. Sometimes people just need a good kick in the butt, a good kick in the pants, right? To really get them going so they feel like, okay, I've got a different voice. I've got a different perspective. And so that was one of my goals as I started in this. I have no problem letting people know that I asked for advice. I consulted for advice. So I went to all these top leaders and said, hey, what do you like? What do you appreciate? What don't you like? And, one of the things that, Tom said, and Tom, you're always blunt on radio shows, right? On your show here, the Tom Chenault Show, you just said to me, you hate it when coaches come in and they just try to gouge and overcharge these newbie distributors. And I said, I couldn't agree more. When I was a distributor, I absolutely 100% hated that. So that's part of the reason why I created the T-Gon Nation paid subscription, because it's lower end. I don't even do personal coaching with people that have been in the industry for less than a year, because I feel like there's enough free content. Maybe that's bad marketing. That's just me. That's my style. That's my personality. But it's such an incredible industry, and it's so fun to learn from so many of you. And GoPro, wasn't that a family reunion? And I wish we could converse back and forth, but I'm trying to give the long-winded answer. But Tom, I appreciate you doing this show, providing so much value and content. And what I'd love to answer any other questions that you have, dive in deep. You can even text me questions if you want or anything like that as we're going. But I'll turn it back to you and see if you have any other questions, Tom, that you want me to answer. So in the meantime, if you guys are tuning in, give us a shout out where you guys are watching from, wherever you're watching from.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
My good friend.
Yeah.
From the UK and people all over the world.
Okay, so here's the deal. I already did text him questions, and I asked him what's wrong with multi-level marketing around income claims and things like that. So he'll be coming back and answering that, and why he is such a stand for network marketing, and what it's going to take to turn this industry to a place where people are not just throwing up on people, but we're professional. And when we go to the break, I just saw Jared Maidenberg on here, and I'm going to talk about him a little bit during the break around the contact mapping. He wrote me a note. In fact, I'll talk about it right now. He said, why would I want to use contact mapping? And I said, well, I don't know, Jared, that's a good idea. I said, but I didn't ask him. We weren't on the phone. We were just texting back and forth. But what I wanted to ask Jared was when we met, because Jared would have told me when we met, and it would have been a nebulous answer, and it would have been pretty cute that he asked me that question. But what I sent him back was kind of cool, because contact mapping is something that I have been doing all my life. All my life I've been contact mapping. And I didn't call it that. I just got to figure out how to spell Maidenberg. Okay, I didn't call it that. I just called it like really remembering what people said to me. But Jared said, why would I use contact mapping? I said, well, when did we meet? I should have said that. It says, here's my notes. Great guy, 3.5-year-old daughter. Garrett knows him. And he also knew Greg Arnold, a network marketing legend who passed away. I met him in Dallas many years ago on the 6th of January. He was Corey Citron's partner. He has a lawyer brother in Castle Rock, Colorado. I took all those notes on Jared probably 10 years ago. And now he's got a Tesla. Now he's absolutely killing it in a company for maybe the first time in his life. I've been around him when he was starting new deals, when he was trying new deals, the whole shot. And I've got him mapped from A to Z, all the companies he was with, because my job is to remember people. Because I know that I, Tom Chenault, am a great place to visit, but you don't want to live here. That's who I am. I mean, you're going to like me, right? Like a second, and then you're going to go, and I'm not sure about this guy. But in that second that we met, I'm going to map the crud out of you. And this contact mapping app that Adrian's going to talk about, I really now can do it without yellow stickies, without Excel spreadsheets, without all the goofy CRMs that do everything but scratch your back. I don't need all that garbage. I just need something that is right there that's going to give me the answer of when I talk to Jared, he's going to be telling me whatever it is, and I'm going to go all the way back 10 years, and he's going to swallow his cigar and say, oh my gosh, Tom Chenault must love me. He remembers me. That's the cool thing about it, right, Paco?
That's exactly right. And we did a phone call earlier today with a CEO of a network marketing company, and the first 2 minutes of the call, he gushed about you. And really what it was about is that you had met him a year or two ago, and when you saw him at GoPro this last week, that you really remembered who he was, and he was so touched by that. And that's all we want, right? People don't get to walk around feeling important and meaningful to others enough. And when you can authentically do that, but when you can give that feeling to people, and you can really remember who they are, and you can really remember what they care about, and you cared enough to write it down so that you could do that, you can't believe what opens up. Because instead of basically starting from square one every time you see somebody once a year at this industry conference, you're able to go and say, hey man, last year you mentioned that this was what was going on in your life and that you were kind of working towards this thing. How did that go? And that's such a different question on so many levels, because number one, you're, instead of trying to figure out what the heck this person's about, you're actually picking up where you left off. But two, you signaled so much care and authenticity and interest in who they are that you were able to even ask that question, that people respond to you completely differently. And we don't do that well. We intend to do that. We think we're going to remember, and in the stream of everything that's coming at us all day, every day in life, it's gone. It's gone by the time you go to bed, let alone by tomorrow morning, let alone a year from now. And you need a place to park this stuff, because you don't realize. Eric was actually talking about this. Eric was doing this big training at GoPro on how important it is to cultivate influencers within your organization, and that in certain network marketing companies, they all experience this momentum and this flow at some point where everything just kind of seems to be going right, and that's great. Like, if you're in that, lean into it. That's awesome. But that never lasts for any company. That's just the definition. You're in momentum for a period of time, and at some point it's going to cool down. And when it cools down, the real leaders emerge, because they're the ones who learned how to cultivate influencers. And he said something really, really powerful that stuck with me, and I think goes exactly to what contact mapping is about. He said that there are diamonds buried all throughout your organization if you'll only go looking for them.
Isn't that sick? And this Daniel Chavez, I want you to understand this guy. So he's got a company called Vivri, V-I-V-R-I. They're based down in Dallas, and they're moving to Mexico. This kid went to Rice University, graduated from Rice, summa cum laude, like he did.
4.0 GPA. Not even summa cum laude.
Yeah, like 4.0 out of Rice.
Crazy.
And then he went to Stanford Business School. And then he got into real estate, and accidentally a hedge fund guy had him talk about an investment in real estate to some network marketing people, and he was going to be president of Mexico. That was his goal in his life. He realized he could make more of an impact in network marketing, and it wasn't going to be nearly as dangerous. But he didn't say that. I did, and I hope he didn't hurt his feelings. But the fact of the matter is, this guy, I would have never learned all that. I would have never mapped all that. That's the cool thing about it, because that's what, remembering people. You're meeting people all day long that could be the greatest thing that ever happened to your future, but we're also agenda driven. Unless they're buying something, we forget about them the second they're out of their sight. So that's just network marketing. Now, we aren't even to the commercial yet. We're going to go to the commercial here in a second or two. And that's going to kind of goof up the final segment with Sperry, because if we do that, and then we'll have him talk the final segment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so we're going to keep talking here. I love Rob Sperry. And if you guys don't go to TG on Nation, if you don't do the game of networking, you're crazy. It is another part. And he said something really profound a couple of minutes ago. He said, I was watching GoPro and NMP, the Association of Network Marketing Professionals, which, by the way, you all need to become a member of. You all need to come to that convention too. But then he said, why can't we have those conventions online? And that's exactly what we went through with Haley Hobson. That's what Angel Fletcher's doing. That's what all these people that are really embracing social media are doing. They're putting this stuff that's going on online because they're smart enough to know that we are not geographically constricted anymore. We can literally be having network marketing. And Jordan Adler, who's 60 years old, and I hope he doesn't mind me saying that, that's an old guy to be embracing this too. But he's figured out that this is also the answer. The smart people of this business are realizing that you got to do both. And you got to do both with velocity. And that's why I went over there with all these young snot-nosed kids yesterday to Haley's place, because I want to embrace this thing. This old dog wants to learn new tricks, and the only way I'm going to be able to do it is hanging out with young people like Adrian. So we're taking a fast break here. Communications Network. We're coming back right after this. Thank you, Ted Anderson, for letting us do this show. And we'll have Rob Sperry right after the break. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. How do people find contact mapping? What the hell is it?
Yeah, so head over to contactmapping.com. That's the place you want to get started. There's a quick little video.
Eric Worry's on here.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi, Eric. You did an
unbelievable job. Stereo.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Killed it.
Yeah. Just remarkable what GoPro did. The people that we brought to that experienced it for the first time, I mean, their heads, I don't think their toes have touched the ground yet. They got a burst of energy. They learned so much, and it's just so cool that you do that every year. So thank you.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And Marina and your shoes and all those people. I'm telling you, I am so cheap. I would wear those shoes that cost $3,000 for like 15 minutes on stage, and I could not do it. Go with Denny Robinson to the store with Denny Robinson and her husband Tom, and we're standing outside the window, and they're saying, go in there and buy a pair of shoes so you can be cool like Eric and like everybody else, probably even like Denny's husband. I am telling you, Tom Chenault, unless I could find a pair of those things in a consignment store for some rich guy that wore them for 15 minutes and then turned them in that happened to be a size 12, there is no way I could do it. I can't. I came from the wrong side of the tracks. There is no way. I can't do it. No way. Could I? You know me. You know me. I wear my clothes inside out. I mean, I'm horrible. All right, go back to what is contact mapping?
Yeah, so contactmapping.com is the place to start. You'll see a video up there at the top, and you can get in about 1 minute a really good download of what we are all about. But it is taking the philosophy that made you successful, Dad, and that has allowed you to serve people in the network marketing profession and in every single walk of life across every avenue of your life, and to be able to leave people better than you found them by remembering who they are, by being able to follow up the way that you intend to, but that most of us struggle to do, and to do that in a way that isn't hard, right? Because there's a ton of tools out there. There's a ton of things that are going to promise you that you're going to be great at follow up and all this kind of stuff, but that is not the way that. Sorry, I'm getting an echo here. But that's not going to. If you think you're going to do that, and most tools are going to make a promise to you that you're going to do that, you're going to struggle to actually implement it in your life. And what we have built is something that is easy to use, that's fun to use, that's designed for you to be using it on the go. So I literally finish a meeting, I pull somebody up, I put them in my phone, and I start talking into my phone and transcribing a note just like this. And by the time I've gotten to my car, I have remembered the most important things about what that person told me in that conversation, which I'll now never forget. I've set a follow-up so that I make sure them at the appropriate time, and off I go. And whether you're a network marketer, whether you're in real estate, no matter what walk of life you're in, it's going to be great for your business, but what you're going to love about it is what it does for every other aspect of your life, where you're trying to be better at getting related to the people you talk to.
Amen. Okay. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go back to Rob Sperry here. Eric Warry just said I could have his shoes if I just would cut a couple toes off. So I may just cut a toe off. I might just cut the edge of my toe off because I want those shoes so bad, but I don't want to spend the money. So it'll be hilarious. Oh, I guess might make sense to cut the toe of the shoe out.
That might be.
Okay, God, I would have done either one because I am telling you, I am so infatuated with those things, but I'm also so cheap that I couldn't do it. So we're coming back right now with Rob Sperry. So just hang on. He's going to pick it up. I've already asked him the questions of where it's going. Whatever you do, Rob Sperry paid a lot of money for being on this show, 0. But at the end of the day, I owe him the ability to be able to really do some talking in this next segment. So here we go with Rob Sperry. Take it away, Rob. This is
All right. I'm excited to be on again, Tom. Thank you so much. And I remember one of the questions that you asked is about MLMs and scams and how we clean up the industry and why I'm such a big advocate for the industry and all these different things. And so that's what I want to cover for all of you. So the first thing is I think especially with social media is great. But at the same time, one of the big weaknesses of social media is that people look at how the grass is always greener. And Eric talked about this specifically. He talked about this at GoPro. He talked about the highs. He talked about the lows. He talked about, hey, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And so you've got to make sure that you're really focused on your own business, on your own company. But let's go even a step further after that is people see on social media, not only do they see these other companies and they think that they're doing extremely well, which some of them are, but we always see the highlight reel. We see, oh, it's great. They're not doing any meetings and they're making millions of dollars and I'm over here struggling and they have the best system ever. And they're looking around. And unfortunately, what too many people do in the network marketing industry is they start to hope that somehow they can make friends with all these other network marketers and recruit them instead of focusing, especially on social media. Sure, you can find those couple people that you want to follow on social media, those influencers you feel like you can learn from. But if your social media, you have 5,000 friends, and if 4,500 of your friends are other people that are in network marketing, who are you trying to attract? Think about it. Your goal should be to have 90+% of the people that are on your social media that aren't part of the network marketing industry. Because for this industry to go to the next level, we need to stop having so many people focus on just taking from another company. Now, I understand there's circumstances, company go out of business, or someone's leaving no matter what. And if they're leaving no matter what, of course, if you've got a great company, might as well join you. Understand that. I know there are different principles. But my main point is what's your focus? What's your true intent? I mean, I understand everybody would love the shortcut. Everybody's like, yeah, I'd love to have that big, huge leader join my team. But the problem is it's old Jim Rohn. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. May have been Og Mandino, but they're both great. Og Mandino, Jim Rohn, one of those two said that. And too many times in network marketing, we treat it like net lottery ticket marketing, net hoping, net wishing, net dreaming, net looking around, instead of network marketing. And even though we say we know that it's about the level of my personal development is the amount of money I'll make, and we talk about we understand the journey, most of us at the very beginning, our focus and our emphasis is on the shortcut. And that's okay at the beginning. That's normal. It's human nature. I had it. I'm 99.999% positive Tom had it, because every single network marketer, is they're ambitious and they get involved, they have it. That's their goal, right? They're just thinking, oh, if I could just find that person, and our highs are too high, right? And that person maybe joins your business and we're thinking, oh, I'm going to be retired. But we don't focus on the skills and the leadership of growing this incredible profession. And that's why you look, and I think for this industry to go to the next level, you need events like the NMP. You need events like GoPro that are generic events, because when you have events like that, what happens is you have other leaders coming in where we're making it where it's socially unacceptable to go out and just recruit other people from other companies. And so that's just some advice for you. I even would say, and again, it's up to you, whatever you want. But I would even say for you specifically is I wouldn't focus on having people that are even from your company on your social media network. Now I understand if they're like really close to you or you feel like they're really close part of your team. And the reason is because again, your goal on social media is to keep attracting new people. So you look back in the day when toothpaste first came out and brushing your teeth first came out. At the beginning, it just wasn't socially acceptable. The only way they got the masses to do it is they started creating a culture of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And I feel like the social media used to be the wild, wild west. It felt like everybody spammed everybody. And it felt like it was just trying to recruit every leader from every other company they possibly could. Now, of course, that's still always going to happen because it's human nature. But more and more, I see people doing it the right way. More and more, I see people utilizing social media the right way. More and more, I see leaders from all different companies collaborating and coordinating. And I see more and more people saying, you know what, we don't have to cross-recruit each other. And that's why I love these events like the ANMP and GoPro, because they're setting a tone. Now, of course, like I said, on social media and different places, there's always going to be a couple bad apples. But that doesn't mean we don't stop. And I hear too many people say, well, that's why I don't have my teams get on social media. That's why I don't have my teams go to GoPro or ANMP. That's a scarcity mentality. If you're a true leader and you create the right culture and you're teaching your teams properly, think of all the information and the content and the things that they can learn to take their businesses to the next level. And also look at it as part of your responsibility as you have this incredible profession, right? This incredible profession that's helping you out in your life, or you're around like-minded, positive individuals. You're creating that residual income to go live your life on purpose. And as you're doing that, I think it's important that we give back. I mean, look at what Tom's doing right here. I mean, some of you are probably thinking, what is Tom doing? This guy makes crazy amounts of money. He's consistent. He's doing shows like this on a regular basis, right? He's not thinking, oh, I'm going to do this show with so-and-so so I can go recruit him, or I'm going to go do it with this other leader so I can go recruit him. I mean, who's the last person he did a show with he ended up recruiting? Think about that. He's doing it because he understands the responsibility of giving back. He understands karma. He understands the law of reciprocation. He understands these important principles. And I understand right now, sometimes when we get into network marketing, it's like we get in, I understand, it's like we got to put the oxygen mask on ourselves, and we're like, I just got to survive. But at some point you realize, at the beginning, everybody always tells you it's not about the money. It's not about the money. And I know for me, I had my arms crossed and I was like, yeah, easy for you to say millionaire. But the more money I made, the more I realized it's not about the money. And I know some of you are saying the same thing I did at the beginning. Now, I'm not saying money's not important. As Jim Rohn says, it's like oxygen, right? It fuels your life. It fuels your passions. It makes you more of what you already are. But the more money you make, the more you realize it's about the person you become. You realize it's about the journey. You realize how incredible this journey is. You realize, why do some of these people still go to their company conventions after they've made so much money? They don't need to go. Why do they still go to events like GoPro or ANMP? They don't need to go anymore. Why did Jeff Roberti, do you think he needed to go? $100 million man? He didn't need to go, right? But he does. Not because of the money, but because of the person he's becoming, and also because it becomes about legacy. It becomes about giving back to other people. So karma is real. The law of reciprocation is real. What you put out and what you give out, I fully believe will come back. It will come back. And so that's why I'll finish with this, and then Tom will let you guys get on, is that's why I love this industry so much, because it's made me a better father, a better husband, a better friend, a better neighbor, a better person. It's made me all of those things, and I still have a long ways to go. Just ask my wife, because every so often she's like, you got to practice what you preach. Tom knows my wife. She just puts me in my place. She's like, hey, didn't you write a book about this? You got to practice what you preach. I'm like, oh, babe, I love you so much. But right now, I don't like you. You're right. She calls me out, like last night when we went and did one of those escape rooms. I'm like, I don't want to go do that. She's like, you practice about getting out of your comfort zone. Go do it. You're coming with me. Called me out on the carpet. So I went and did it. But that's why I love this industry so much, because it makes you a better human being, and money becomes a byproduct of that. It's incredible, incredible industry, incredible profession. And you just keep focusing on becoming better. And as you do that, as you marry the process and you divorce the result, it's not a question of if you're going to be successful. The only question is when you will be successful, and whatever that looks like to you. Success means different things to different people. So I don't know if we had 10 minutes, if we're over or what, but flying solo here, Tom. Hopefully that's what you were looking for.
It was.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Tom. It's always fun hanging out with you guys at these events, these family reunions. So I will let you guys come back on. I'll put my headphones on so I can hear and appreciate it.
All right, everybody. That's so cool. That's Rob Sperry. And what a man. I mean, he just did that completely in the blind. We were text messaging back and forth. He is unbelievable. And I know that this had technical issues, but, it was a great show, wasn't it?
We worked it out.
It was fun. And you know what? Your network marketing business has problems like that, and you work it out. And Eric Worre, they had a panel called the Legends panel, but it was really pretty much called like the people who are going to probably die next year panel when I was on it. And he asked me, one of the questions that was really interesting was he said, what's your biggest accomplishment? And, when I was drinking 30 years ago, you couldn't believe, if I told you it was snowing outside, you should put your swimming suit on, because 100% what I told you was probably going to be a lie, and exactly the opposite. And today, if I tell you it is snowing outside, you better put on your ski jacket and your mucklucks, because I'm telling you, it's snowing. And he asked what our biggest accomplishment was, and I said, the man I've become, because that's the truth. I am more proud of that because I'm finally able to be my word. I'm finally doing something I believe in with every fiber of my body. Hope never breaks. The product never breaks if you're selling hope. And I want you to understand that this is a gift that you can give to literally anybody. And here at Christmas time, I want to be Eric Worre. I want to be Rob Sperry. I want to be Adrian Chenault. I think my son is a good man. And I am most proud that my son is in this business, working with me in this business. I'm most proud of that, like proudest accomplishment that. And I want that for every one of you. But if you don't have time to spend the money, you're dead. The time is great, but if you don't have the money to enjoy that time, you're dead. And if you don't, that's why this is such the perfect storm. And it's got to be the perfect storm for you, but you've got to do the work. That means learning the skills that Eric and Rob and these people are teaching you. So, Adrian, I love you.
I love you too, Dad.
I love you like a son. I feel like I've known you all your life.
It's incredible.
I know. It's my greatest joke. It's my greatest joke every week that's getting boring. All right. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.